Talk shoe. Recorded live.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be across the nation or around the world. Once again, you're listening to the VMware Community's Roundtable Podcast. This is podcast number 762. My name is Eric Nelson, and with me today I have my regular co-host, Bob Plankers. Today is Wednesday, March, what is it? 18th, 2026. Where's it going? Well, I'll tell you where it's going, Bob. It's going to VMware Connect in Amsterdam all this week. Sure. Yeah.
How is that? You're over there right now, aren't you?
I am not over there right now. No. Okay. I'm just going to go. I'm going to go to Minnesota. I'm going to go to Orlando. Yeah. I'm going to go to Toronto, but I'm going to skip Dallas, and I'm going to skip. I skipped Amsterdam. We got people over there, so it's all good. But hey, lots of stuff going on in the community ecosystem. And today we've got Lorrie Noll coming on the show to talk about call for papers, tracks, tips, and logistics with Lorrie Noll on what's going to happen with Explore this year with regards to call for papers is open. I know everybody's paid attention to that. We'll talk a little bit about that with Lorrie in a minute. But before we do that, let's talk about what's going on in the news. Bob, I got VMware Connect in Amsterdam, over 560 people, registered. I know they have 500 plus, 525, something like that, registered came in and as at the show today. So great numbers. I've seen photos. Frank Dunneman doing the keynote on AI. Yesterday, day zero, we had kind of the unconference for the afternoon, and that was standing room only. So a lot of people over there talking about AI, security, and VCF. So three great kind of unconference sessions where everybody's open discussing what's going on. So kind of fun community stuff, and photos from the mixer last night was crowded. It looked like a couple hundred people on day zero, just being part of the event, and then today 500 plus people at the event. And so great 3-day show.
That sounds good. I'm looking forward to April 6th, 7th, 8th in Minneapolis. So that should be fun. Or 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So
a lot of great VCF content. It's kind of like everybody's on board now, right? And everybody's just going forward with VCF. And I know coming up, they're going to have VMUG's going to have virtual events as well on VCF 9.1, right? I don't know if I'm allowed to even say that number or not, but I think so. But
I didn't hear anything.
I know that's content coming down. So it's just going to be a constant train of, new content, new features, stuff that you can deploy in your enterprise. So excited about that as well. So good times.
Yes. Speaking of 9.1, the release that shall not be named, if you're interested in being part of the beta program, you should talk to your field people. You talk to your sales account execs and stuff like that. There's a beta program going on. I think you can actually request access to the beta through the Broadcom support portal too. But if you get any questions about that, ask your sales teams. And we're doing a lot of that stuff right now. So version coming out, but yes, should we have a version, there might be a beta available. So, we got a Corey.
There we go. Yeah. So just in time, Corey, we're just going through the news, talking about VMware Connect and all that. So maybe we'll take a moment and ask you anything new with vExperts.
Nothing. Oh, actually, yes, I do have some new news for vExperts. So just as a reminder, webinar registration that is happening right now for the webinar that is happening on April 8th at 10 a.m. to noon. That's with VMware, and that's strictly for vExperts, of course. And also, we're going to have sub-program applications opening within the next 2 weeks. I'm aiming for next week, but just want to say the next 2 weeks just to be sure. And so program applications are going to be for VCF, security, and vExpert Pro. So same as last year.
Time is last year. Nice. Beware of the security subgroup. I hear the bozos run that world over there. So be careful. Once you get sucked into that,
that's actually one of the problems. So we need to talk about that.
Of course, Bob.
I'm going to put time on your calendar.
We're very secure because we deny all access.
Yeah. Bob runs that, and Bob, you're not a bozo, or at least
Yeah,
never
I
say
would
that.
post
Giving
with
him bad
regard.
time.
I-
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm willing to accept that title. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of time in the day versus, like,
I feel like security is like the Eagles Hotel California. You can check in, but you can never check out.
check out,
once you
can't
yeah,
leave,
yeah.
how-
Yeah,
whatever
you
it
can't
is.
leave, whatever it is. Yeah, cool stuff, right? So yeah, be aware that the VMUG in Amsterdam was rocking. I know that in Minnesota the registration's up near 100, right? And we're 3-4 weeks away, so we'll still continue that. I'm excited there. I'm going to have the code labs there with the GPUs and the mini forums. So excited to be there, and I know Bob, you're going to be there as well, and we're going to have we're going to have the day 0 sessions as well, the unconference, right? I call it I want to call it the VMUG Underground day 0, where, you get to, come hang out and chat with community. Right. Am I frozen? No. All right. Okay, good. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
Some time on your calendar next week to discuss.
So cool. Sounds great.
Great.
Yeah, next week.
There we go.
Yeah, okay. Oh, we'll talk about it. Cool.
I don't know what's going on here, but okay. Coordinating. Got it. All right. Nice to know.
All right.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Yeah,
Poor
let's
Lorrie
move on.
here. What are these phones doing?
Well, I just want to continue on with the thread of go register for Connect in Minnesota or Toronto in the early April or Dallas. We're watching reg numbers, and we're excited to everybody show up there. I know in Orlando, all the VMUG board members are going to be there. So also, and Brad comes to each of these also. So we'll all be there. All right. Well, let's get on with the show then, and let's introduce Lorrie. Let's introduce. I'm wondering, am I lagging? Am I lagging to the point where then you're hearing?
Our responses, your responses to us seem to be delayed.
Yeah, Bob isn't lagging for me, but you are, Eric. And Lorrie's not lagging for me.
The internet is broken. So.
The internet was broken at work today as well, so I'm not sure what's going on. But yeah, you guys are responding to me. 30 seconds, there's like some huge lag. Let me log.
Okay. Well, Lorrie and I can continue this conversation. I was just saying that, speaking of big events, there's one big event that happens every year, and I explore, and so, Lorrie, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Anytime we have somebody on, like how did you get here? Why what is your involvement in all of this stuff?
Sure. Thanks for having me on. So I joined VMware in May of 2021, and I actually was a contractor at first, and I was on the partner marketing team. I was on that team for about 15 months, I guess. And then the opportunity came along to join the corporate events team. So I moved over to that team in August of 2022 and have been on that team since then. Specifically, I am on, the corporate events team is made up of several different areas, but I am on the content team. Cool. So I recognize all of your names, and I know we have worked together in the past. But so one of the main things I do is obviously content. I work on the content selection. I'm the event tech lead. So I work with like the point of contact for our tech team to set up all things Explore, whether it's the call for proposals, the speaker resource center, which is the SRC, the content catalog, where everybody goes in and can see all the sessions and register for their sessions. I do all of the scheduling for the content that happens at Explore. And I also work with the kind of the contact person for the sponsor team. So I work with the sponsor team on their content. So just working with them. and then also just working on the content timeline. So pretty much all things content.
Seems like you do a lot of stuff, like that's a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm based in Charlotte, North Carolina. So.
Oh, very nice.
I'm on the East Coast.
So Explore, call for papers. Is that open now?
So we went live last Wednesday, so a week ago today. So we went live on March 11th. Call for papers, we extended it a little bit this year, so we're just shy of 6 weeks that we will be open. We close on April 24th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So we encourage everybody to get in there and submit your sessions. Just a couple of other high-level timelines, things to keep in mind. Non-employee registration opens April 28th. Employee registration opens on June 16th. Content catalog, which is what everybody looks forward to, goes live on June 23rd. And at that point, everybody will have access to all of the accepted sessions, be able to go in and favorite sessions that they would like to attend. And then our schedule builder goes live on July 21st.
Oh, wow.
So Bob, how do I sound now? Am I still lagging?
Great. Yep.
All right, good.
It sounds like you can hear us. So.
Yeah, I can hear you guys great. So I have a couple, I missed a little bit of your, call for papers intro, but I'll just hit you with some of the questions I have, or at least conversation points, because we are a community podcast to talk a little bit about the history of call for papers and paper selection. I don't know, Lorrie, how long you have been running call for papers, or how long you've been involved with Explore or VMworld. So to catch me up, how long have you been engaged in this space? And then I'll do some way back machine comments before we get into other things.
Yeah, so I've been with the company for just shy of 5 years, but I've been on the corporate events team and content for about 3.5 years. But even when I first started 5 years ago, I had said that I was on the partner marketing team, and I kind of got connected with the Explore team at that point, and I was kind of the contact person for partner sessions for Explore back then.
Yeah. So, Bob, you remember the days when the VMworld was kind of like a conference for the community, the conference for, people coming and sharing their stories. I think 2006, 2008, 2010, it was very much that. And Call for Papers was this open process where, community people came in. And I remember there was guys at companies that would do the same presentation year after year and just tweak the dates in the slide presentations because they were still running vSphere or what do we call it? vSphere.
I hate to say it, if you got something that works, like refresh it in that, there's always new audience too. So.
Right. And then we kind of renamed the event VMworld an industry event, right? And then the paper mix tended to flip back to kind of like partner papers, enterprise papers, and kind of like how many papers are we going to give Microsoft, and how many papers are we going to give other partners, and we spun up the community talks because it was hard to get your story and as an IT practitioner in front of people because there was so much competition for papers, right? Then for a while, maybe from 2016 to 2020 or some number before, and then COVID hit and then everything shut down. It was like mostly all, product managers, right? If you looked at a lot of the papers, a lot of the sessions were, us talking about how we're engineering the products and where we wanted the products to go in the cloud, and vCloud Air, everything that we were doing to go after the cloud world, right? And a lot of the papers were then just our product managers that came back. And now, last couple of years, the last 2 years, Lorrie, since you've been around and engaged in this, I feel like there has been a swing back to practitioners, right, and our customer base doing the submission. And then the change, so that's the kind of the lay of the land from my perspective, right, was that there has been a shift back to, call for papers, meaning, you as a customer, you as external practitioner doing implementations can submit your ideas and you have a relatively decent shot of, getting accepted, right? And with that, you guys have also changed who's making decisions on what's getting selected, right? There's criteria now, but then now there's these teams of track owners that are a collection of, some product people, but also some community people, VMUG people, that are actually having more of a conversation about what papers to accept. Do you see that yourself, Lorrie, or is that just a narrative that I've made up in my own head?
Nope, you're right. So last year, and I believe you talked with Mary Sears, who was on my team, and she kind of talked a little bit about it last year, and she was the one that created it, but we came up with a content advisory committee.
Yeah, right.
So we're happy that we are bringing that back again this year, and it leverages diverse perspectives and expertise from multiple representatives across Broadcom divisions and from our VMware community, as yourself, to curate the content that is relevant, balanced, and inspiring for all of our attendees. So that is coming back this year. And so ultimately, once call for papers closes, we have this team, this committee that will go in and review the sessions. And since it's from, a bunch of different people from different areas, everybody can go in and kind of vote and say why or why not they feel like this would be a valuable session. So we're getting people's feedback from different areas, of what is going to be the best content that we can, showcase at the event. And once that voting period is over, it comes down to my team, the content team, and we have the ultimate say, but we'll go in and review all the voting, all the recommendations, all the feedback, and ultimately decide what gets accepted into the program. We felt like this was very successful last year. I mean, we saw higher attended session rates, and also survey scores came back a little higher. So we felt like it was successful, and bringing it back again this year.
And last year was excellent. I thought there was a good mix of business and technical. There were good conversations and things. So it's good to hear that that's coming back. Yep. What are the tracks again this year? The same as last year, or are you doing anything new?
Not anything different. So the only thing we changed, so we are going to have our 4 tracks again. So the only thing that is changing is just the naming a little bit on a couple of them. So the 4 tracks are cloud infrastructure, security, app modernization, and innovation. And really the change is that we made the decision to align to what the solution areas are on the web. So last year it was like networking, security, and load balancing. This year it's security. Last year I think it was modern apps, and this year it's app modernization. So those are the only changes, but still going to have the 4 tracks.
Changes, yeah, okay.
Yep.
So Bob, I have a comment that we can chat about here as well, which is, you notice that in the old days the conference was 20,000 people, right? Then the conference was 15,000, then it was 10,000, and now we're targeting 5,000. Last year was 5,000 plus, and so I'm sure they've got their target numbers again this year. But what I would say is that I look at when Broadcom took over and some of the stuff that Broadcom did, they got rid of stuff that I thought was ridiculous that we were doing, right? Bitcoin, or, we had all kind of little library projects and engineering projects doing all kind of things, right? And I look and people ask me, what do you think? And I said, I feel like Broadcom was Eric taking over. They just looked at all the ridiculous stuff and said, no, because I'm a data center guy, right? I feel like the conference has done a good job at this, right? The conference has eliminated, we're doing executive program meetups and, like all kind of things that were not about learning, practitioner learning, and our ecosystem and what we actually wanted to share at a conference. It was everything to everybody, right? And I feel like they've tightened this up now to where they do pay attention to sessions, right? So I guess having said that, Lorrie, like, I know that the number of sessions for me last year was a large number, even though the conference has been smaller because we've eliminated, the Bitcoins of the world, topics that really weren't really that relevant to data center. How do you feel with regards to the number of sessions? I felt there were like 300 plus last year, and there was always 300 to 400 sessions. Are you guys still targeting that number this year?
So we are going to be a little less this year. Some changes, as you said, it's now more I guess some things to expect this year. It's a practitioner focused event. We are going to be condensing our space at the Venetian. We're going to have our streamlined programming for adoption and deployment. We're going to have increased technical content. New this year or different this year, rather than having a general session, we're going to have a plenary session. We're still going to have the hands-on labs, certification, adoption workshops, booth demos. There's going to be more partner-focused content and training, and then also sponsorship opportunities, aligned with the partner priorities, as well as you'll see a reduction in ancillary events. We're going to have, condensed press and analyst engagement. And then also new this year is we are not going to have an executive briefing.
Right. So again, when we got rid of end user computing, the things got smaller. But if I really look at the quality of content that IT practitioners, it's gone up, right? Like, we're doing less, but we're doing less Bitcoin, less weird stuff that I always like, or executive briefings or meetups and of executive, like things that I thought were always like counter to what I felt was a good tech conference, right? I feel like the numbers were good and quality was good. And then I've heard one thing, Lorrie, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not, but I heard that the hang space this year will be open so that you can come watch the plenary sessions from the hang space, as opposed to needing to squeeze in or stand in line to get into the main place, where from a community perspective that was always fun, right, to be able to go into the hang space and hang that out. Now I've heard that's going to be open. I could be wrong there, but
Do we know? Lorrie, what do you know?
I believe we are. I mean, it's going to be streamed into a couple of different areas. So you don't have to be in the session room. So the idea.
Smarter ideas, right? Now you got to take all this with a warning, caveat, things subject to change, right? Because nothing is in stone here until it is. But I would say that quality of experience for the practitioner is going up, and the number of practitioners we're targeting seem to be the same number as always, but the sessions should be that good. And then community reviewing, or at least some community members reviewing on the content teams, the type of sessions that we are approving is just good and better.
Yep.
So I've got some questions about sessions. If we can pivot a little bit here. I'm sorry, Lorrie. You were trying to say something.
No, go ahead.
Okay. The our lag here is returning, perhaps. So I'm going to submit proposals. I'm probably going to do a whole bunch like I did last year, which ended up being a problem. I need to clone myself. But so what should a guy like me think about when I'm putting in a proposal?
Sure. I mean, so, there's several things, I guess, is when someone's making a submission, that they should ask themselves. I mean, first and foremost, what is the topic? For us, the more technical it is, and if it includes a customer, a better chance of getting, accepted. So is there a compelling customer case study that supports the topic? Which is big for us. Another question to ask is, why do the Explore attendees care? Why do they want to spend time in your session? So include this, in your submission, make it relevant to the audience. And the final thing just to consider is, why would I want to attend this session. Does it have a catchy title and a strong abstract? Is it presented by an expert? And what would I get for coming? So those are just 3 things that we kind of have just put out to the universe about what they should think about when they're going to submit their proposal.
Yeah, those are great suggestions. I like your second and kind of your third point too. That I usually summarize it as "so what," like the question of "so what." Why is this relevant? And so, cool.
Yeah, Bob.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, my comment there also is that having reviewed a lot of these, a more concise and well thought out description, right, makes a lot. I've seen guys that have submitted like a subject and then 2 lines describing it. And I'm like, well, you're competing against people that really do a nice job and a couple paragraph description, right, that really shows that you've thought about the topic and you have a way to present it.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask Lorrie as well. Like, the follow on to this is what length, in the abstracts. I'm assuming that there's character count limits, like there have been in the past. Like, what are you looking for? Because people who are really wordy, that's a problem too.
Right?
Yeah. There is a character limit. I forget what the title one is, but abstracts is 850 characters. So, it's got to be within the 850 characters.
But what I say is 850 characters is a lot of characters, right? Like that's like 3 or 4 paragraphs, right?
It is, yeah.
And I have seen submissions where it's a subject and half a paragraph, right? And I would be like, half a paragraph is okay if you have bullet items that talk about the key aspects that I would learn in that 45 minutes. But I've seen people submit 5 different call for paper submissions, and they're all 1 subject sentence and then 3 sentences on the topic. And I'm just like, yeah, you got to do better.
Right. And I see, Bob, it looks like you're going through the process right now.
If we are, if people are watching us on YouTube or whatever, I know a lot of people stream us audio only or whatever, but I happen to be, I'll narrate this a little bit, and Lorrie, maybe you can help me here. So first thing on the page, so I logged into here, let's see, where am I? Event.vmware.com. Basically, I searched for VMware Explore 2026, and It's the first result.
Yeah, so the just for listeners, so the CFP link lives on the homepage of Explore. So there's a pencil banner there, and you'll see it, and just click on it. So just one thing to note is that you will need to be logged in with your Broadcom. I call it like events login. So you'll have to be logged in with that. And then once you're in, it'll just take you to the home page there. So, we do encourage everybody. There is the submission guidelines doc. So that's helpful too. Just make sure, to take a look at that. It goes through some information that you'll need as you're going through the process. So always encourage everybody to go through that document. And also, we are always here to help. So to get to the content team directly, we have the event.content@broadcom.com email alias. And one of us is in there multiple times a day. So especially now that we are live, we'll be in checking that if any questions come up.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned, so at the top of the, I'm lost, at the top of the submission page is submission guidelines, and it appears to be a PDF.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of good information in it, 75 characters for a title, 850 characters for an abstract. Make sure your submission aligns with the track you're submitting for. That's important. Don't submit, don't submit into the same thing into multiple tracks. Assuming that annoys folks, and that's not a good way to get into the conference.
Well, one thing that we started last year, and also have it again this year, as you go through the call for papers process, you would see it. We did make it where, because sometimes a topic will fit into, more than one track, right? So we do give the option, select your primary track, but then we do have another question if it falls into another track that somebody can pick that as well.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we'll look at that in a second. Don't use bulleted lists. Well, now you've just eliminated all of the people that are using AI to write their submissions. So, itemize your talking points in the copy, separated by commas. Spell out abbreviations or on the first reference. That's just good practice, anyhow. Observe length limits. Don't use abbreviations and acronyms for VMware by Broadcom product names. Use the correct ones. Yeah. So. Top rated sessions provide best practices, insight on new products and features and innovations, or technical deep dives and demos. People really like demos. I personally don't like doing live demos, but doing a narrated demo where you've got it recorded.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Record. Say you're going to record a demo and then take people through it. That's also a nice thing to have.
Yep.
Well, then you don't have to worry about the internet being functional. You're just self-contained, Lorrie, question for you. So I always do demos and want the ability to show stuff. If people ask, a lot of my sessions at the end when I'm taking questions, I'll try to show people stuff. Is there still going to be the ability to have a demo laptop, like bring my own laptop to do demos on? Are we still going to be able to connect those?
Yep.
Cool. Skip the sales pitch. Oh, that's important too. Consider co-presenting with a Broadcom expert. That's a survey data shows it's a winning combination. Avoid the phrase "in this session you will learn." Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A bunch of characters you don't have to put in there. Cool. So no, this is cool. So we'll go back to the submissions. So I pick. I'm a Broadcom employee and a V expert.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick up to 2 here.
Yep.
My employee division, I find myself in the VMware Cloud Foundation division. Other people won't get this, I assume, if they're not a Broadcom employee. Would I help sourcing a customer speaker for your session? So what does this mean? You folks will help find customers. How do you do that?
Yeah. So if someone were to select yes for that, so not sure if you're familiar with Erin O'Quinn on our team. Yep. So that essentially will get routed to her. As you know, she's fabulous working with our customers. So that's that question. If anybody marks yes, we will get that person in touch with Erin.
Nice. Then session type. So breakout session is the normal. Those are what? How long are they this year?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. Meet the expert roundtable. Those are what? 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
Okay. Panel discussion. What makes a panel discussion different than a breakout session?
So it's the same. It's 45 minutes. So that which just allows up to, I think it's 4 chairs up on the stage, to have a panel of people and mics and stuff like that available.
All right. And so a breakout session is what? 2 people generally, or how many presenters? Okay.
Yep.
A quick talk. What's a quick talk?
So quick talks are just that. They're quick talks. They're 20-minute sessions. So again, they are, we're bringing those back. They will be in the hub. So we have one theater like we did last year that will be in the hub, that will be shared with community code and sponsor sessions.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah. Eric, I think that's, you talked a lot about that last year, and that was wildly successful is my understanding. So.
Yeah. These are the same ones we've always had, right? Where, we've had the code theater and the community theater a couple of years ago. And then now we've just brought that into one larger theater, right? Which is just that then we do all of them together. The big change, last year and this year is that the community talks and quick talks were really about if you're at the show and you want to show your boss that you actually did a talk, right? We try to do really 20-minute fast talks so that we had more capacity to get you up on stage, show your boss that you actually come to the show and you did a talk. And we required you to buy the ticket. Your boss had to buy the ticket. So the idea was that, if you could convince your boss that you got to talk here, even if it's just a community talk, your boss will buy you the ticket, you'll get to go, and that was good for everybody. But over time now, we've changed that because people would get a session, think they were going to get a ticket, and then the poor event team would have to, go crazy trying to manage missed expectations of I got a session, but I don't get a ticket. Why? So now we've just made it so that all quick talks get a session or get a ticket. And then, we put it all in one big theater, and it's a legitimate session now, right? And that's just what it is. But it's a quicker session because we try to do a lot of them. And because I'm on that content committee, what I would say is that we are looking for a little more offbeat topics. Right. We know that the main tracks will do the VCF 9 and all the things you'd normally do in order to migrate from 8 to 9 and all those topics. What we're looking for in the community talks and the code talks is interesting things that you've done in your own environment that, maybe I hadn't thought of yet. Right. And it's not in the product documentation. This is what community does. Community invents. Right. And so if you have a fun thing, and I always come back to I built a vSAN storage on USB chips. Right. And it went for 2 minutes and then lit on fire. Those are kind of fun projects just to kind of experiment with kind of technology that you're using. And so we look for that. It gives people something exciting and different to come sit for, and they're 20 minutes. So if you don't like that one, you wait for the next one. But that's where that goes, and that makes kind of community fun. And we also like any kind of community topic, right? Where if you're talking about something that happened in the community ecosystem that you learned from, that's also positive. So those are quick talks.
Yeah. So that's where I'll submit my how to get Claudebot to admin VCF talk.
Yeah. That's a cool topic. Sure.
Lorrie, you were going to say something.
I say just to confirm back to the passes. So external speakers will get a pass. Mm-hmm. Internal speakers will only get a pass if they're speaking on another session.
That's right. And we need to make sure if you're a Broadcom employee listening to this podcast, we just need to reiterate also that you can get a main session accepted, and it doesn't mean you get to go. Your management, your division has a certain number of allocation of employees that get to attend. So it doesn't matter what session's accepted. If your boss has not given you permission to go to the event, it doesn't matter. You need him to just allocate out a spot for you in order for you to go, regardless of who's paying for the ticket.
Yeah, and hopefully before they've even submitted the session, they already have that approval from their boss, just to make it a little easier. But yes, you're absolutely right.
Right.
So we missed one here. Tutorial, just to complete the set here. Tutorial still 90 minutes.
90 minutes.
Those are cool. I like those. Yeah. I like doing tutorials because you can really get in depth with those. So.
And Bob,
they're very popular. They were very popular last year.
Bob, just let me comment on Lorrie. Lorrie, just I also believe that you can submit a talk and use that talk to convince your boss to allocate one of his valued slots to you. So I would say go ahead, come up with ideas, submit them. If you get accepted, know that you might not ever get to give that talk. You then have to use that as another reason, and then find another job, at the show. Usually you need 2 or 3 things you're doing at the show in order to, manage to pry away a slot.
Yep.
All right.
So the tracks: app modernization, cloud infrastructure, innovation, and security. So security is pretty straightforward. I'm one of those people you described as, can straddle two different areas. Like most of my stuff ends up in cloud infrastructure, even though I'm usually talking about security and just out of the logistics of the different tracks. So, so I could do a cloud infrastructure and then maybe pick security, and then you folks will figure out where I belong. Is that how that'll work?
Yeah.
Cool. What's innovation? So innovation, what would I submit in innovation?
So if you when you click on those, it'll come up with the description of what they're looking for.
Oh, there it is. Emerging technologies, private cloud, private AI. Oh, okay, cool. So, and then I pick a product. I can pick other products. Industry focus, fairly straightforward. Does my session contain confidential product information and should not be in the content catalog? That sounds like a buzzkill. If I pick this, will my session still be listed in there, or do you just suppress the abstract? How does that work?
Yeah, it gets suppressed. So a lot of times it's not going to be live like before they go, before we go on site. So it'll be hidden, but then by the time we go on site, it'll be something that we can unhide, put that on there.
So for product managers who are submitting a paper for a feature that's going to come out in 9.1.1, they can't announce that until it's released. That's cool. That's
so the moral of the story, but the moral of the story is if you want to be visible and get people to schedule you and favorite you and all that stuff in the content catalog, you probably should engineer your titles and abstracts a little bit more generically then.
Which that happens a lot.
Yeah. Well, but the content selection committee will see that. It's just that it won't go published on the site.
Yeah, but if you want people to plan
attend. I see. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not doing this for the
I get it. I get you. Yep, that makes sense.
You guys are just
totally.
A roadblock, not a roadblock, but a milestone rather to getting me to talk in front of a whole bunch of people, and that's the and I want people to show up. I want 500 people in my tutorial. That's what.
Or maybe you should go the opposite way, Bob, and just say top secret.
Top
secret. No, and then
everything.
Yeah, you gotta come in order to learn. Fight Club.
Yeah. Well, very cool. So I hit continue here. I'm not going to submit a fake blank one or anything like that. I'll actually put some thought into it later today. But and then when will I hear back? I'll hear back in April.
End of April. That's when it closes.
That's when it closes. Then it'll go through the review period. So acceptances are going out, will go out June 9th.
June. Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Excellent. And then, and then I can, and hopefully by then, and for internal people, as we were talking, make sure it's okay with your boss, but then you can kind of figure out the logistics and all that stuff. So what happens if I submit 10 sessions and they all get accepted? How does that work?
It's not going to happen, Bob.
I know, but what happens if there's a conflict? What happens? You talked to Lorrie. You said that you do the scheduling, and So how does that work?
I was going to say, well, probably it's a little bit of a nightmare if all 10 sessions got accepted. But I guess it also depends if they're different session types, right? Like meet the experts, where they're 30 minutes, or if you're doing a quick talk and it's 20 minutes, right? It's easier to kind of schedule around those. But I mean, if you got 10 accepted, that's wonderful.
Well, that's a little bit much, but there's some folks that have a number of sessions. And so when you're scheduling stuff, is this you with a big wall and Post-it notes? Do you have a piece of software that does it? How does that work?
That's funny. Cause back in the day, so I prior to here, I was at Oracle for 20 years. And I actually started on the JD Edwards team. I don't know if you know JD Edwards, but they're, smaller, one of the products. And we used to get in a room when it came to scheduling and had the big board with all different color Post-it notes and had them all over the place. But that's funny that you just kind of brought back memories. But I schedule everything through Rain Focus. Which is our, event platform tool. And that's even evolved over the years and has made things a little easier, because if I try to, I guess I should step back. So what I usually do is I work with the track leads of each track once everything's been accepted. And I kind of have a spreadsheet that I work off of first, where I know that VCF has so many time slots, security has so many, and I'll kind of put those on a spreadsheet. And I really let the track leads have first stab on it, because they're going to know what session should come before another session. I don't necessarily know that, right?
Right.
Like, or what should take priority. So I will let them do that first. And then as I go in and try, and then, again, if there's sessions that shouldn't compete with another track, at a certain time, I'll ask for that information too. But as I'm scheduling, if I try to, put it into a slot and maybe that speaker is already somewhere else, it'll flag me right away. It won't let me schedule it. So that's kind of nice. And then it's just working with the track lead, who will work with the speaker and, on making sure that we can get everything scheduled. But, our speakers also will have access to, we've used Nth Degree for many years who manage our speakers. So I also work with them on speaker management. So they have access to them, and then Nth has direct access to me. So it's a process. It's a puzzle. I somehow get through it every year. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, it used to just be that I did the breakout sessions. And then over the last couple of years, it was like, hey, you really should do meet the experts. You really should do quick talks. So, I mean, which kind of makes sense, right? Because they all come in through the call for paper. So I have visibility into everything, because then what was happening was we were running into a lot of conflicts
cross conflicts. Yeah.
Yeah. And it made it harder. So this way it's just easier for me that it'll flag me right away. If there's a conflict.
And Bob, it reminds me of like, how do you get through a 20-mile hike? One step at a time, right? You take that first step, you start filling people in, pretty soon it fills in, and you get it done.
And when Lorrie just said that, I was actually thinking, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. That's what that sounded like.
Yeah. So, but I would say that, we do, I know for our track, we do look at the good slots. Like, we know that Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m., is the worst one. Everybody's flying home. And so we know where there are weaker sessions where we like them, but it's not that strong a session. So, we want to get it on recording so that it'll be in the content library. So we'll schedule late afternoon sessions like that. And then, what your really strong ones are. So you give them, 11 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., where people 2 p.m.
Maybe that's where 2 a.m.
2 p.m., 1 p.m. or 11 a.m. In the goods prime locations, and you fill those in first. Then you kind of have your tier 2 and your tier 3s, and you do it that way.
We switched it up a little bit too within the last couple of years, and kind of experimented with things, along the lines of, people don't want that late afternoon spot, or especially like on a Thursday. But then we actually, I was scheduling actually technical content, like, that people were interested in, and even kind of, getting to know our speakers who are really popular, right? That people do want to hear their sessions, and like the tutorial sessions that you said too, like splitting those out. We used to, a couple of years ago when I first started, did all the tutorials on that very first day, and then didn't have any the rest of the week. So then 2 years ago, I did it where I broke it out and was doing it, on all 3 days. And I will say that, last year, like the last day,
had the strongest content, right? Yeah.
And the numbers were high, which was great, right? Like people weren't dropping out. So it gives you a chance to see, like, are people really there for the conference and the content? And, they are, because you get to drop out after the party, right?
I used to have fun doing that, where I'd save some of the good ones till Thursday, just to reward the people, the attendees who did the last day and were there till the end. They got some really good stuff. Yep.
No, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
say what you want about the numbers and all that stuff, but I really liked last year. Last year, I was busy. I had a bunch of sessions, but it was calmer. It wasn't the frenetic sort of like running around when we had 25,000 people and there's a million things going on, and that we could have a conversation with customers. We could have, the hallway track. The joke is always about the hallway track, and the hallway track was real, like you could stand in the middle of the hallway and talk to a bunch of people. And it was nice, and so I really like the direction it's going here. And it sounds like, every year you're just, fine tuning a few things. And I think that's really cool. So I really appreciate it.
I'm excited about it, Bob, because I feel like now everybody knows 9. And now we can have fun learning about some of the more interesting things, right? Where the last few years, it was all just like, how do I get to 9? Here's the licensing. Here's what the new stuff. Here's what it is. Very high level. Here's what it is kind of stuff. Where now I feel like we all know that. Now we can actually learn at a whole new level.
Yeah. And we can talk about the new stuff, memory tiering. We can go deep on memory tiering. We could go deep on AI, all of the AI stuff that's now just part of the product. That's really cool. All of that stuff,
and that makes it it also makes the questions and interacting with the community better because everybody knows it. They're like, yeah, I have tiered set up and I've run it now. And so now they can contribute to the conversations. They can ask good questions. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
It's going to be great. So cool. As we get to the end here, Lorrie, do you have any final thoughts? What are you looking forward to in all of this?
I just being part of the content team. I mean, the fun is just seeing what comes in and, watching everything come together and just putting on, a successful conference and just looking forward to seeing what topics that we get in this year. So it's just we monitor it every day. And, I also, once Schedule Builder goes live, I mean, it's another puzzle piece. If we see that sessions are maxing out on the first day, like always moving them to a larger capacity room and just getting them to, they can get the most amount of butts and seats that we can get. So
nice.
Look forward to seeing it all come together and working with our speakers. We know it's not their full-time job and it's a lot. So, but they're what make the conference.
So where is what's the URL? If you've made it this far, it is what is the URL?
For, if you just search for VMware Explore 2026, here I'll get VMware.com/explore looks like, and then Lorrie was saying you were saying that there's a pencil banner here. That's the official term for one of these little banners, and you can submit here and there and get all kinds of information. If you don't want to submit, there's information about the show itself,
process,
the times, all that stuff. And and then when you register, you'll still be able to book hotels through the registration site, I assume. So people shouldn't do that separately.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. So we live stream on youtube.com/vbarbecue, VBARBECUE. Go check us out. You can look at what Bob was sharing on his screen. If you're listening to the MP3, thanks for doing that. We're on TalkShoe, Spotify, as well as iTunes. So thanks for listening. And Lorrie, because we're on VBarbecue, we always talk a little bit of barbecue in the end. And you're from North Carolina, is it? Somewhere back east, a good barbecue state. So we'll go to you. So we always ask, what is your favorite go-to barbecue? Either what you make in your backyard on a grill, smoke, or you go to a place.
Well, I was going to say, so that's unfortunately, I'm not going to have a very interesting answer for you because my husband's a vegan and one of my daughters is a vegetarian. So we don't eat it a lot. Although I know that North Carolina has wonderful barbecue places. So I don't have any
vegetables count, if you're grilling stuff or whatever. So what's your favorite dish to make?
We'll do grilled vegetables and stuff like that. But, really, I'm not vegan or vegetarian, but I will eat meat. But every once in a while, to me, and it kind of sounds funny, like I love a good hot dog on the grill.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, a little bit of char. Yeah.
Yep.
I was in Barcelona last week, and we have a condo on a cliff overlooking the beach, and we bought a new Kingsford charcoal barbecue for the rooftop area that we have, and I got a pack of hot dogs, right? Because when you got a grill, you got some charcoal, you put it on, you blacken it up a little bit, you crisp up the buns. There's sometimes a good hot dog is all you need.
Stripe of ketchup, a little bit of onion.
And a little relish, mustard. I like mustard, relish, onion, ketchup. With a kind of blackened dog too. I like them a little crunchy. Yeah, nice thing. Nice to hear it. I like it. That's pretty nice. All right, Bob. Well, I got nothing else here. I think we're done for the hour.
Thank you, Lorrie, for being part of this whole thing. Thanks for the information. Thanks for all that you do. Like all of the stuff. All of you ladies that are unsung heroes behind the scenes, sorting out all of our stuff when I have problems and you fix me up and all that stuff. I really appreciate you all. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, jumping on. And hey, guys, everybody, go dream up your ideas. Submit them. There will be room. Yep, get them in.
Yep. Go submit your questions.
Thanks, Corey. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Lorrie.
Thank
See you later.
Bye.